Kickstarter at this point has been around for many years, and maybe you've heard of controversies that arise when developers scam their backers, such as delivering an unfinished product, or simply up and disappearing. Truth be told, I mostly got desensitized to it, but to this day, there's one Kickstarter that irks me. One that was crowdfunded by many members of the visual novel community, a community that I am proudly a part of. A Kickstarter so memed, so mismanaged, to the point of being delayed over 20 fucking times, that I really think we can no longer ignore it. At least, I can't. Today, we are talking about Sharin no Kuni, a visual novel revered by many when it first released in Japan that is now even being looked back upon as a visual novel classic. We'll explore its Kickstarter, which, despite facing initial adversity, succeeded with the help of passionate backers, excited for a professionally done English translation with updated visuals and various promised backer incentives. And lastly, this is a precaution to both developers and Kickstarter backers alike, because sometimes development goes as planned, and sometimes it's a burning, heaping shit pile of clusterfuck. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is BruceGoneLoose, but you can just call me Bruce, and this is the story of Sharin no Kuni, and how, in the eyes of many, it inadvertently became a fucking scam. Sharin no Kuni, as I mentioned, was an extremely well-regarded visual novel by fans of the medium. Some may have even defined it as a kamige, and as such, whilst it was readable via a translation patch from fans, this was mediocre, and many wanted an official English release with a professionally done translation for the best experience. However, the likelihood of this was very low. You can't call visual novels a popular medium even now. So back around Sharin no Kuni's Kickstarter launch in 2016, many popular visual novels remained untranslated due to lack of interest and, of course, lack of potential profit. The possibility of an official English localization of many titles, including Sharin no Kuni, was bleak at best. So when Frontwing, with their various collaborators, announced a Kickstarter to fund the project, people were ecstatic. However, things didn't go as smoothly as we hoped. On April 8th, 2016, Frontwing officially announced the Kickstarter for Sharin no Kuni, now officially called Wheel Country Sunflower Girl, which is set to occur in June. Some people were excited, some people were confused. Frontwing is an established VN developer and publisher, so why would they need to use Kickstarter to fund this thing? People pondered. Couple that with the rumors that this release was actually just using the same fan translation people had been using for years, and your project suddenly gets a cautious glance from its intended audience. Sometime around the beginning of June, the Kickstarter page is put up, ready to be moved by tears. It confirms the usage of pre-existing translation scripts. So you want the uncensored patch? Well, they want money! And their backer rewards weren't exactly stellar at first either. The Kickstarter launched on June 30th, 2016, but it did not carry the momentum it needed to reach its ambitious goal of $140,000. Many potential backers were not reached because of the lackluster promotion. The backer rewards were also criticized, and whilst they tried to introduce better rewards, it was too little too late. As it was looking more and more likely the project wasn't going to be funded, some questionable comments came from the localization team. To quote from their 5th Kickstarter update, if this project is unable to reach the $140,000 crowdfunding goal, the world would lose its chance to experience the official English version of a spectacular game. Moreover, if a game this popular is unable to procure the funds necessary for English localization, it is supposable a bleak winter lies ahead for any similar localization projects. In short, they were speaking of gloom and doom to the future of English localizations if Sharin no Kuni could not get funded. And this sort of came off as disingenuous guilt tripping towards the backers, and many people did not appreciate that. Unfortunately, they didn't trip enough guilt, because at 39% of their goal, with not much time remaining, on July 22nd of 2016, the Kickstarter was cancelled. However, whilst they were down, they were not out. With the announcement of their unfortunate Kickstarter cancellation came one more declaration that they will create a campaign worthy of Sharin no Kuni. Subsequently, they announced an official restart of the campaign, thanking the original backers of the Kickstarter and letting everyone know that they will be accepting further suggestions and feedback. And they did. They reduced their crowdfunding goal from 140,000 to 80,000. Their stretch goals included a PS Vita port and the Fandist chapters at much more reasonable crowdfunding goalposts. Improved backer rewards, such as including the 18+ patch with a $20 contribution and much more. Want the Sharin no Kuni laptop with a slick customized top that comes pre-installed with Sharin no Kuni? Nobody wanted the Sharin no Kuni laptop, except one guy who bought the expensive one. Promotion and communication was also a lot better. There was a Reddit AMA and a Twitter retweet promotion. With momentum seemingly high, the time had come to, yet again, launch the Kickstarter for Sharin no Kuni on November 22nd, 2016. And to no one's surprise, it was a complete success. Reaching halfway to their goal of 80,000 in less than 5 hours and achieving it 10 days after the Kickstarter had initially launched, they successfully finished their campaign with both stretch goals reached and a final total of $188,000. Morale was high, and despite a few remaining skeptics, both the project developers and backers were excited. With the backing of a successful Kickstarter to the degree of surpassing their original goal by slightly over $100,000 comes expectations and a naturally high level of hope that the project will succeed. But sometimes this hope can bring about the ultimate despair. With the estimated delivery of digital keys and rewards being set for August 2017, plus physical rewards for October 2017, the team was hard at work to make sure they delivered. The first project report comes a couple months after the Kickstarter ended. They show aspect ratio examples for the PC and Vita versions and let everyone know the translation is underway. Good update. Thanks for keeping us informed, guys. The next update introduces the team and then corrects the previous update, emphasizing the resolutions are lower than previously specified. Some people were confused, but Sharin no Kuni is an old visual novel, so sure. Whatever. A couple of updates later, and everything was going smoothly, but then it happened. The first delay was announced on August 3rd, 2017, pushing back the release of Sharin no Kuni to December. People were frustrated, but mostly understanding, and the delay likely wasn't unexpected, as releasing 8 months after your Kickstarter is an ambitious goal, even if it was just a localization. But nonetheless, good news would come 2 months later, however. The translation was finally complete. The editing was halfway done too, so it was very much looking like they'd hit the release goal of December, if only looks weren't so deceiving. And in no time flat, things took a major turn for the worse. And note that each delay pushes back the distribution of the physical goods and the Vita version as well, but I'm just going to focus on the digital distribution of the actual game, because things are about to go a little awry. December 21st, 2017. The game is now delayed until April 2018. Reason: scope changes and updates that needed to be made to the original game. We apologize deeply for our lack of foresight. The month is now April 2018. Unanticipated bugs. Engine won't run on Windows 10. It's not happening, guys. New goal: May 2018. May comes. June 2018. We apologize wholeheartedly. More unexpected bugs. Windows 10. Definitely September 2018, guys. It's important to mention here that people were kind of getting worried, because the PS Vita was losing support outside of Japan in March of 2019. So if they delayed any longer, it was not looking very good. And people just wanted them to hurry the fuck up in general. September 2018. They stated the game was actually finished in July, but they had problems with their Steam submission. Development focus switched to Vita version to ensure it can get pushed out to backers in time. Okay, fair enough. PC version delayed to December 2018. Dear Santa, The only thing I want for Christmas is Sharin no Kuni. More bugs and translation errors. Definitely February 2019. February 2019. Vita version is finished. We can assure you that you will receive your Vita rewards. Unfortunately, the Steam version isn't coming this month. We were overly optimistic, they said. Very close to the game's distribution, they said. They said lies! March 2019. Here's some shirts you'll get soon. We can't say shit about the release. Thank you for your patience. May 2019. They switched to an Asian publisher for the Vita release since they didn't make the deadline. But hey, it's still coming. Right? Steam version is in the final debugging stage. Non-severe bugs. We ask you to wait a little longer. July 2019. The Steam version encountered a serious bug, delayed until fall. Fall 2019. A lot of words to say it's not coming. Vita publisher agreement almost finalized. TLDR delayed. Frontwing begins posting updates to let people know of all the progress they made on their other Kickstarters, along with Sharin no Kuni. Sharin no Kuni's progress barely moves. Somebody didn't read the room. March 2020. Fix the old issues. Cause new issues. Delay. Alright, I think you get the fucking point, okay? I'm gonna skip a couple of updates and just increment them as delays so we can get to the moment where people truly lost faith in this project, if they hadn't already. February 15th, 2021. The Vita version was cancelled. Now, this might not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, because the Vita was never really a popular system in the West. But to fans of visual novels, the Vita was pretty much the VN machine, especially since you can get some more obscure visual novels anywhere else. So obviously, people at this point were fucking pissed, and you couldn't see people talking about a Sharin no Kuni update without someone calling it a scam. But we'll talk about that after, because we got a couple more Kickstarter updates to get through first. By the way, the PC version was delayed with this announcement as well. PC development goes smoothly, but still delayed to May, you see. COVID fucked it's now, it's June, again delayed till August 2. Digital wards have now been sent without the game Lamauget. Bugs still there, but not a ton. No clue when we'll get this done. We're having all these problems cause our backers wanted this one thing. We're switching engines, fixing bugs, so final product we can bring 1 year later just to say we haven't finished it, my dudes. The game's now done, so August when we hope to try to release. It's definitely coming, so we say a lot, but it's not coming in August as more bugs were caught. And not in September, but on January 30th of 2024, the most recent update came out. Finally, at long last, after over 7 years of development, many hardships, the loss of the Vita version, the lost faith in the development team and publisher Frontwing, and the many, many updates. They finally came out and said that they have no idea when it will come out. I probably don't have to tell you the result of this development escapade, but suffice to say, pretty much everyone who backed this project was fucking pissed, to the point where this entire project is pretty much a meme to everyone at this point. And it's funny if it wouldn't be so sad, because this entire fiasco brings consequences. From the very get-go, in their very first Kickstarter, do they say that Sharin no Kuni not getting kickstarted would be a travesty, and imply it's a sign that VN localizations in the West have no future. When in fact, ironically enough, those who kickstarted this project likely will never kickstart another visual novel again. And you can't blame them. How can anyone believe that these developers were dedicated to release this classic visual novel for passionate Western fans when this entire fucking travesty of a development campaign occurred? This whole goddamn thing is a pathetic show from Frontwing, and clearly a behind-the-scenes development disaster just for a localization project that they thought would only take 8 months. But the question remains, is it a scam? At the end of the day, this is not legally a scam, nor do I claim that it is, or that any person or company a part of this project went into it to steal someone's money. But ethically, it's pretty much no different from a scam. Just because you aren't technically scamming anyone because of development transparency and reassurance of release, etc., does not mean someone shouldn't have the right to feel scammed, because they do. How can you honestly take people's money in 2016 for a project you originally promised for August of 2017, not deliver it for 7 years despite constantly dangling the carrot in front of their eyes, and say you aren't a scam? If Sharin no Kuni were to be released tomorrow, the narrative is no different. 7 years is a lot of time to be waiting for an updated visual novel release with English localization, no matter what anyone says. In the earlier updates of Sharin no Kuni's Kickstarter, after they were funded, they advertised Frontwing's other Kickstarters, all of which are already funded, completed, and released at this point. Where the fuck is Sharin no Kuni? You could learn Japanese and read the original in less time at this point. As evidenced by changing the engine so late in development, clearly something awful had to be going on, because I've never heard of a game having a success story after switching engines 4 years into development. They mention a broadening scope along the way being a reason for delays, amongst the dozens and dozens of bugs, so clearly they didn't plan this project even remotely competently if they ran into this many issues during development. And look, I get it. I have no idea how the original game nor its engine was coded. It could absolutely be spaghetti in the background, and in that case, it's not unfair that a couple delays would be expected. But there is definitely some incompetence in this development process, be it through project planning, through the project's collaborators, or simply an amateur development team. But none of this excuses the outcome. They did have the decency to refund backers that wanted the Vita version, but dropping one of their stretch goals 4 years into development is an incredible sign of bad faith. Sure, they had no choice, if, of course, not finishing a visual novel you promised would be done 3.5 years ago at this point was a given. What irks me, though, is that they occasionally include the usage of language such as, "This feature was implemented due to the response of the request of many backers," followed by the many reasons they had problems implementing it and announcing another delay, and it feels kind of disingenuous. It comes off as projecting these delays onto the backers. The feature they are talking about, from what I understand, is the ability to change aspect ratio, which led to engine issues. One last thing I want to discuss is how they say they were dedicated to keeping backers informed, and they were, but they were arguably too transparent. For every update they put out, backers got more discouraged. Nobody wants to see an update to a game that they're backing say, "We're delaying it again," once a fucking month. Just fix your issues and come back after a year. But they did leave for a year, and they didn't fix their issues, so maybe the point is moot. And lastly, I leave you with a conspiracy theory. That laptop might exist. It might not have the fully completed Sharin no Kuni on it, but there's a sliver of hope. If this message reaches those decades, nay, centuries in the future, in the midst of a barren wasteland, I and the entire visual novel community entrust this one task to you. Find that laptop, experience what we could not, and save Natsumi from the hell she didn't deserve. If you like the content, why not subscribe? Because where a visual novel controversy lies, I will be there. And I also do reviews, so...